Once upon a time when I was a kid, my mom walked in on me as I was watching Naruto. And of course, by some nasty rule of life, this happened. Though because of this, very quickly I got an idea. A flame sparked inside that teeny tiny brain of mine. I decided to turn male anime / manga characters into women. Not just any man. I picked out the pinnacle of manhood. Not balls of steel, balls of titanium. The ones that carry 200 kilograms of iron with their mouth. The ones with a chest bigger than your average girl in town. Though before we start, 2 rules. Number 1, I have to stick to the overall clothing design. Man wears jacket, woman wears jacket. Pretty simple. Rule number 2, the shape has to stay the same. Another example, the man is big buff daddy, the woman is big buff mommy. And with that being said, let's have some fun. Now, the first man is still going to school. But for some reason this guy must have skipped puberty because he looks and talks like he's in his mid-20s. And so you might have already guessed it, it's Jotaro. Some time ago I made a video where I tried to draw in every JoJo style. And this caused another boom inside my head. I decided to add a third rule. And that is that I have to stick to the same style as the character that I'm drawing. First things first, I got my references and a lot at that too. Considering the pose, I wanted something more relaxed and cool that really fits the JoJo vibe. Before I start designing the female version, I want to get the overall anatomy right and see whether this reference is any good. And luckily, I liked what came out of it. So now that I got the base down, it's time to buff her up. Now, I'm not really known for drawing buff women, so this is going to pose a bit of a challenge. If I go overkill, she might lose her female figure and end up looking more of a man than Jotaro. Luckily, not too long ago, I made a video on learning anatomy in 7 days, and that really helped a lot. I think she's coming together quite well. There are probably still some minor mistakes, but I'll fix those during the designing process. I decided to give her short hair and cover the rest up with Jotaro's hat. Then I moved on to his coat, and this is where the whole look is starting to really come to life. I also decided to change the 2 belts and turn them into one bigger belt simply because I find it more aesthetically pleasing. Then I quickly gave her the pants and some loafers. Lastly, I had to fix the hands, and those gave me a really hard time, which is why I took a reference of myself to make my life a bit easier. And voila! We got the draft down. I will quickly clean everything up, do some nice line art, and then we can jump straight into the coloring. I will probably just stick to the way I do my art privately coloring wise, because I think it comes fairly close. It's currently 5 PM, which means nighttime, because right now it's winters and I hate it. Nevertheless, I pretty much finished our female JoJo, and I think it turned out really great. Now, considering the coloring and the polishing, there is still a bunch of mistakes. I just don't want to spend 3 hours on something that will look very similar to what I have right now. Now you know how Jotaro would look like as a girl, and we can move on to the next savage on my list. This guy does not have balls of steel, he has balls of diamond. And not because they're so shiny and beautiful, it's because they're unbreakable. This man has more nicknames than any kid that has ever been bullied at school. Ladies and gentlemen, this man is Ash Ketchum. Nah, I'm joking, I already teased it in the beginning, it's guts. Since there isn't really a good anime show of Berserk, except the 1979, I think, I'm just gonna go for the manga version, which means that we're also gonna draw in manga style. This is going to be quite the challenge because I have never drawn armor, and to do the whole thing in manga style makes it even worse. Now, while I search for a reference from my new Berserk manga collection that cost me half of my soul and my left kidney, I want you to admire my absolutely gorgeous lighting setup. I'll mainly use the references to see what kind of armor parts he's wearing, because technically speaking I could just cover everything with a cloak, but that would be boring. After unsuccessfully browsing the net for references, I just decided to take one myself. The vibe I was looking for was something less to the face or confident and more low-key. Luckily, I was able to nail the overall proportions right away, and honestly, I love where this is going. It almost feels like I'm creating my own small fantasy character. Here you can see the first draft without any designs. Now it's time to bring this character to life and give it some clothes and armor. I will start by giving some large shapes first to figure out how exactly I want things to look like. I obviously don't want her to look like the next Victoria's Secret model, but more like a mercenary. Yet at the same time, I don't want her to lose her female features. Lastly, I'm gonna give her the same prosthetic arm that Guts is using. And at the end I decided to put her cloak or cape just behind her and expose the entire armor, cause it looked a bit weird to have it around her forearm. The face and hair I'm just gonna freestyle and hope that I can create exactly what I'm looking for. I'm going to try to establish as much recognition as possible by adding similar features to Guts. For example, his big prominent eyebrows or his pointy ears. Another thing that really makes Guts stand out in my opinion is his spiky hair, so I'll see how I'll implement that. Unintentionally, as I was trying out hairstyles, I ended up giving her the Sasuke Uchiwa hairstyle. And honestly, I didn't think it was that bad. I kept it for now and moved on to the face. Tired eyes, a bit of a pointy nose with a small scar and big lips later, I came back to the hair. I didn't really feel satisfied with the Sasuke cut, so I kept trying out different things. First I removed all the spiky hair. Then I realized that it didn't look good and tried to come back to it in a different way. I kept styling and styling this woman until I finally came up with something that looked like it came straight out of Final Fantasy. I will go over it one last time to see if I can make any further changes and improve the overall design. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we have the final draft of Guts as a woman. I managed to come up with a hairstyle that is a bit more fitting to the Berserk universe, something that is more realistic rather than extraordinary and special. And now comes the next challenge, the inking. Now I'm still a bit burned from the manga video I did 2 weeks ago, and I'm not aiming to make a proper illustration here. Yet I still want to do my best to make it look as neat as possible. And because inking and hatching is basically the same movement at 300 billion times, I will skip this part for you. Alright guys, as you can see, I pretty much rushed every aspect of the shading. It took me some time to learn and understand the hatching, but once I did, I realized that it's gonna just take way too long. I sent both of these to a friend of mine and his answer was that the JoJo one is alright, but the Guts one is just straight out cursed. I guess in a sense he's right, but nonetheless, this challenge was quite fun. And with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did. Truly thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you in the next one.